Can you make decisions? Welcome to Rethink Your Perspectives blog. This blog is dedicated to finding, sharing and discussing a variety of topics around the struggles our clients and audience go through. Each episode we discuss a key concept that many humans struggle with, and we give you a variety of perspectives for you to see the concept through so you can find one that makes it easier to deal with. We hope you get some benefit from these blog posts, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Don't hesitate to like, share and comment at the links. This episode is resharing a video which I recorded in 2022 in my study of me reading an article on decision by Bob Proctor that I came across that week in my daily studies. So let's go take a look. Can you make decisions? Indecision is also a decision. Keep listening to hear the recording of the video. There is a single mental move you can make which, in a millisecond, will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter, and it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. We have a name for this magic mental activity. It's called decision. Decisions, or the lack of them, are responsible for the breaking or making of many a career. Individuals who have become very proficient at making decisions, without being influenced by the opinions of others, are the same people whose annual incomes fall into the 6- and 7-figure category. However, it's not just your income that's affected by decisions. Your whole life is dominated by this power. The health of your mind and body, the well-being of your family, your social life, the type of relationships you develop, all are dependent upon your abilities to make sound decisions. You would think anything as important as decision-making, when it has such far-reaching power, would be taught in every school. But it's not. To compound the problem, not only is decision-making missing from the curriculum of our educational institutions, up until recently, it's also been absent from most of the corporate training and human resource programs available. So how is a person expected to develop this mental ability? Quite simply, you must do it on your own. However, it is important to understand that it is not difficult to learn how to make a wise decision. Armed with the proper information and by subjecting yourself to certain disciplines, you can become a very effective decision maker. You can virtually eliminate conflict and confusion in your life by becoming proficient at making decisions. Decision making brings order to your mind. And of course, this order is then reflected in your objective world, your results. The person who fails to develop their ability to make decisions is doomed, because indecision sets up internal conflicts that can, without warning, escalate into all-out mental and emotional wars. Psychiatrists have a name to describe these internal wars. It's ambivalence. The Oxford Dictionary tells us that ambivalence is the coexistence in one person of opposite feelings toward the same objective. You do not require a doctorate degree in psychiatry to understand that you are going to have difficulty in your life by permitting your mind to remain in an ambivalent state for any period of time. The person who does not permit it to exist will become very despondent and virtually incapable of any type of productive activity. It's obvious that anyone who finds himself in such a mental state is not living. At best, they are merely existing. A decision or a series of decisions would change everything. A very basic law of the universe is create or disintegrate. Indecision causes disintegration. How often have you heard a person say, "I don't know what to do"? How often have you heard yourself say, "What should I do"? Think about some of the indecisive feelings you and virtually everyone on this planet experience from time to time. Love them, leave them, quit, stay, do it, don't do it, buy it, don't buy it, say it, don't say it, tell them, don't tell them. Everyone on occasion has experienced these feelings of ambivalence. I know I have. If it happens to you frequently, decide right now to stop it. The cause of ambivalence is indecision, but we must keep in mind that the truth is not always in the appearance of things. Indecision is a cause of ambivalence. However, it is a secondary cause. It is not the primary cause. It is clear from decades of studying the behaviour of people who have become very proficient at making decisions that they all have one thing in common. They have a very strong self-image, a high degree of self-esteem, They may be as different as night is to day, and numerous other respects, but they certainly possess confidence. Low self-esteem or a lack of confidence is the real culprit here. Decision makers are not afraid of making an error. If and when they make an error in their decision or fail at something, they have the ability to shrug it off. They learn from the experience, but they will never submit to the failure. Every decision maker was either fortunate enough to have been raised in an environment where decision making was a part of their upbringing, or they developed the ability themselves at a later date. They are aware of something that everyone who hopes to live a full life must understand. Decision making is something you cannot avoid. This is the cardinal principle of decision making. Decide right where you are with whatever you've got. You don't know what you don't know. This is precisely why most people never master this important aspect of life. They permit their resources to dictate if and when a decision will or can be made. When John Kennedy asked Werner von Braun what it would take to build a rocket that would carry a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth, his answer was simple and direct: the will to do it. President Kennedy never asked if it was possible. He never asked if they could afford it, or if any one of 1,000 other questions, all of which would have, at that time, been valid questions. President Kennedy made a decision. He decided he would put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of that decade. The fact that it had never been done before in all the hundreds of thousands of years of human history was not even a consideration. He decided where he was with what he wanted and what he had. The objective was accomplished in his mind the second he made the decision. It was only a matter of time, which is governed by natural law, before the goal was manifested in form for the whole world to see. Once you make the decision, you will find all the people, resources, and ideas that you need every time. If that is the only benefit you receive from this particular message on decision making, burn it into your mind. It will change your life. Whether you want to or not is the only consideration. Whatever you need to achieve your goal, you will attract once you've made the decision. There are any number of people who will say it's absurd. You can't just decide to do something if you do not have the necessary resources, and that's fine if that's the way they choose to think. We see that as a very limiting way of thinking. In truth, it probably is not thinking at all. It's very likely an opinion being expressed that was inherited from another older member of their family who did not think either. Thinking is very important. Decision makers are great thinkers. Do you ever give much consideration to your thoughts? How they affect the various aspects of your life? Although this should be one of our most serious considerations, for many people it's not. There is a very small select few who make any attempt to control or govern their thoughts. Anyone who's made a study of the great thinkers, the great decision makers, the achievers of history, will know that they very rarely agreed on anything when it came to the study of human life. However, there was one point on which they were in complete and unanimous agreement, and that was, we become what we think about. What do you think about? We all must realise that our thoughts ultimately control every decision we make. You are the sum total of your thoughts. By taking charge this very minute, you can guarantee yourself a good day. Refuse to let unhappy, negative people or circumstances affect you. It's a choice. The greatest stumbling block you will encounter when making important decisions in your life is circumstance. We let circumstance get us off the hook when we should be giving it everything we've got. More dreams are shattered than goals lost because of circumstance than any other single factor. How often have you caught yourself saying, I would like to do that, or have this, but I can't, because. Whatever follows because is the circumstance. Circumstances may cause a detour in your life, but you should never permit them to stop you from making important decisions. Napoleon said, circumstances, I make them. The next time you hear someone say they would like to vacation in Paris or purchase a particular car, but they can't because they have no money, explain that they don't need the money until they make the decision to go to Paris or purchase the car. When the decision is made, they will figure out a way to get the amount needed. They always do. Many misguided individuals try something once or twice, and if they do not hit the bullseye, they feel they are a failure. Failing does not make anyone a failure, but quitting most certainly does, and quitting is a decision. By following that form of reasoning, you would have to say that when you make a decision to quit, you make the decision to fail. Every day in America, you hear about a baseball player signing a contract which will pay him a few $1 million a year. You should try to keep in mind that same player misses the ball more often than he hits it when he steps up to the plate. Everyone remembers Babe Ruth for the 714 home runs that he hit, and they rarely mention that he struck out 1,330 times. Charles F. Kettering said, "When you're inventing, if you flunk 999 times and succeed once, you're in." That is true of just about any activity you can name, but the world will soon forget your failures in light of your achievements. Don't worry about failing. It will toughen you up and get you ready for your big win. Winning is a decision. Many years ago, Helen Keller was asked if she thought there was anything worse than being blind. She quickly replied that there was something much worse. She said, "The most pathetic person in the world is the person who has their sight but no vision." She was so right. At 91, J.C. Penney was asked how his eyesight was. He replied that his sight was failing, but his vision had never been better. That's really great, isn't it? When a person has no vision of a better way of life, they automatically shut themselves in a prison. They limit themselves to a life without hope. This frequently happens when a person has seriously tried on a number of occasions to win, only to meet with failure time after time. Repeated failures can damage a person's self-image and cause them to lose sight of their potential. They therefore make a decision to give up and resign themselves to their fate. How many people do you know that have done that? Take the first step in predicting your own prosperous future. Build a mental picture of exactly how you would like to live. Make a firm decision to hold on to that vision, and positive ways to improve everything will begin to flow into your mind. Many people get a beautiful vision of how they would like to live, but because they cannot see how they're going to make it all happen, they let the vision go. If they knew how they were going to get it or do it, they would have a plan, not a vision. There is no inspiration in a plan, but there sure is in a vision. When you get the vision, freeze frame it with a decision and don't worry about how you will do it or where the resources will come from. Charge your decision with enthusiasm. That is important. Refuse to worry about how it will happen. The next section's on advanced decision making. We make advanced bookings when we fly somewhere. That is quite common. We make advanced reservations to eliminate any confusion or problems when the time arrives for the journey. We do the same with renting a car, for the same reason. Think of the problems you will eliminate by making many of the decisions you must make well in advance. Here's an excellent example. Take a person that's on a diet to release weight. Their decisions are made in advance. If they are offered a big slice of chocolate cake, they don't have to say, "Gee, that looks good. I wonder if I should." The decision is made in advance, and when well tempered with discipline, will lead to the desired results. Do not participate in discussions of why something cannot be done. The only compensation you will ever receive for participating in or giving energy to that type of discussion is something that you do not want. It is amazing to see the number of seemingly intelligent people who persist in dragging you into these negative brainstorming sessions. In one breath, these people tell you they seriously want to accomplish a particular objective, and in the next breath, they begin talking about why they can't. Think of how much more of life they would enjoy by making a decision that they will no longer participate in that kind of negative energy. The humanistic psychologist Dr. Abraham Maslow, who devoted his life to studying self-actualized people, stated very clearly that we should follow our inner guide and not be swayed by the opinion of others or outside circumstances. Maslow's research showed that the decision makers in life had a number of things in common. Most importantly, they did work they felt was worthwhile and important. They found work a pleasure, and there was little distinction between work and play. Dr. Maslow said, to be self-actualized, you must not only be doing work you consider to be important, you must do it well and enjoy it. He also recorded that these superior performers had values, those qualities in their personalities they considered to be worthwhile and important. Their values were not imposed by society, parents, or other people in their lives. They made their own decisions. Like their work, they chose and developed their values themselves. Your life is important, and at its best, life is short. You have the potential to do anything you choose and to do it well. but you must make decisions, and when the time for a decision arrives, you must make your decision where you are with what you've got. Let us leave you with the words of two great decision makers, William James and Thomas Edison. William James suggested that compared to what we ought to be, we are making use of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. Stating this concept broadly, the human individual thus lives far within his limits. He possesses powers of various sorts which he habitually fails to use. Years later, Thomas Edison said, "If we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves." By making a simple decision, the greatest minds of the past are available to you. You can literally learn how to turn your wildest dreams into reality. Put this valuable information to use and recognize the greatness which exists within you. You have limitless resources of potential and ability waiting to be developed. Start today. There's never any time better than the present, right now. Be all that you are capable of being. H.L. Hunt said, "Decide what you want, decide what you're prepared to give up to get it, set your mind on it, and get on with the work." And Thomas Carlyle was quoted as saying, "Go as far as you can see. When you get there, you will see how you can go further." So, decision is a skill that we must all learn to live effective lives. We choose to make decisions or we choose to not make them and let someone else make them for us. The second option puts your life in someone else's hands, and that is not a way to live. When it comes to making a decision, you can only make it where you are and with what you have. Don't try to predict what you will have. It won't work, as nothing is guaranteed. Also, making decisions on past experiences is also not the best idea. Things have changed since then. You now have more information. Can you change a decision once made? If you suffer from hindsight, know that any decision made can be remade when you have more information. Make decisions based on the information you have in that moment, and if it turns out to be the wrong one later, then so be it. It was the best one you could have made in the moment. You can't change it, so just make a new one and carry on. The plan can change, the goal does not. Don't be afraid to change the plan. Criticism is temporary. Be the bigger person, take responsibility when you realise you've made a mistake, make a new decision and move on. There is nothing to be gained in wishing you'd made a different decision or beating yourself up over it. Please contact me if you would like to discuss this further, or if you'd like a written copy of the article that I read. I'd be happy to send it over. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please comment, like or subscribe. Constructive criticism is always welcome. To your success, Jay. Rethink your perspective.